body, saying the new system prioritises profits over people. Gareth Hutchins explains.
The system we've talked about this is you take as much profit as you can. Right?
In the Southern Highlands in New South Wales, former staff of the Commonwealth Employment Service are reminiscing about their fonder memories together.
Cheers, the good old days.
In the 70s, 80s and 90s, they helped hundreds of Australians find work.
There was a sense of mission about what we were doing in a country town. You know those people. It's actually a really important job.
While they were passionate about changing the lives of job seekers, they think the industry has gone backwards in the last 25 years.
There's no source of on-ground knowledge and information anymore because we had close relationships with local businesses and employers. So we knew where the labour shortages were.
Unemployment does not discriminate.
After the Second World War, the Chifley government set up the publicly funded Commonwealth Employment Service to eradicate joblessness.
Australia has maintained full employment at a level higher than probably any other Western country.
There was a general notion, both domestically and internationally, that if you could have a nationwide labour exchange that quickly and efficiently matched people looking for work with bosses looking for workers, that would help us sustain a full employment economy.
The CES was privatised by the Howard government in the 90s as a view swept through Canberra that market forces should drive employment services, not the state.
The dramatic change means the CES will now compete against 300 private job agencies across Australia.
Eddie Jens first went to the CES in 1969. It helped him find work 7 or 8 times, including a full-time role in the public service.
This guy was brilliant. I mean, he kind of guided me into employment. And to be quite honest, everybody that I dealt with at the CES was like that. They were very helpful.
In 2010, he found himself unemployed again and tried to get help from the privatised system.
And it was a stark difference. The people at the job network, to be quite honest, they were hopeless.
Employment expert Dr. Simone Casey says the current system hasn't lived up to the promises made in the 1990s.
Privatisation was supposed to introduce a much better service model. We see a drift towards a kind of real consolidation of the providers, so that now we're dealing more and more with quite large multinational welfare to work companies, and we've lost that capacity for like local service delivery.
As business leaders, unions and politicians gather in Canberra for the Jobs and Skills Summit, there are calls to bring back a modernised public employment service. Even former Treasurer Wayne Swan, who was once the boss of the current Treasurer, has made it known that he's sympathetic to the idea.
People would come in the office and
Joining those calls is former small business leader Peter Strong.
you can't bring back the CES, the world's moved on, but we need something that delivers what it delivered when it comes to the human issues. I understand most of them are still passionate.
He says current staff are paid poorly and burn out quickly, while some providers make huge returns.
Having people make millions of dollars on the back of the long-term unemployed is not the way you use taxpayers' funds. Just not the way you do it.
Putting people before profits.
More than 100 delegates are headed for Canberra tomorrow for the Labor government's Jobs and Skills Summit, representing employers, workers and lobby groups. The Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese,